Welcome to the Power Gamer Podcast. I'm your host, Mike Dawson, joined as always by fellow host Johnny Paulus. Johnny, welcome back.
Yeah, long time no see.
We tried to do this last night, and there's storms all about, and my power wasn't cooperating, so it's take two. My power actually came back and was fine shortly thereafter, but at that point I was like, I don't feel like it now. Just wait till tomorrow. So we'll be a day late publishing when you hear this. If you're wondering why, it's because Mother Nature tried to take us out.
Facts.
Yeah, we've actually got a lot to dig in this week.
We do.
Here, and the extra day has afforded us some new things to talk about. So let's not dilly-dally today, shall we? No dilly-dally.
I'm with you. Let's roll.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome into episode 128 of your Power Gamer Podcast. As always, we ask for your very cost-free and minimal support, which includes doing such wonderful things such as liking the video if you're watching it on YouTube, perhaps subscribing to our channel. If you're listening on Spotify or iTunes or Google or wherever, give us a nice review. Take a quick minute. Think of all those commercials that we don't make you listen to, and then go, oh yeah, maybe I can spend 0.2 seconds clicking the like button.
Yeah, that's it.
That would be very nice of you. So, without further deliberations, let's get right into what we've been playing this week. I'll get mine out of the way first because, Johnny, some of yours ties into our main topic here.
Okay, sounds good.
So let's get it started with Evil West. I've been playing more Evil West this past week, and it's been a bug fest, to say the least. It's been a very buggy mess over playing it co-op on the PS5. So some different circumstances that I'm playing the game in versus yourself. And yeah, I'm kind of at the point with it right now where me and Mandy were talking about it, and we unanimously agreed that the bugs are worse in Evil West than Redfall, and that we actually had more fun playing Redfall. So that should kind of
sad state of affairs.
That should kind of allude to how it's been going. We are almost done. I think we have we're either on the last chapter or the one before last. So I should cross this guy off the playlist this week. But surely, I guess if we take both opinions that I've been giving on the show, Johnny, yours was mostly positive playing it solo and on a PC, and mine has been mostly terrifyingly negative playing it co-op on a PS5.
It's so weird.
That is strange that a game, because we can only work with what we know.
Yeah.
So something, I don't know if it's related to the console that we're playing it on or how we're playing it, co-op versus single player. I would assume that the co-op thing is more than likely.
Yeah, I think so too.
The issue versus the platform that we're playing it on. Because, you looked at other people's reviews of the game, and I would think that if, a reviewer's not going to play the game co-op with somebody. They're going to sit there by themselves and play it. And you really don't see in the reviews a bunch of bitching about, flying 600 feet up in the air randomly.
I think that'd make the cut. Yeah.
The game crashing like 3 times per hour, such as it has been in my experience with it.
That's so weird.
I'll give a final conclusive numerical score next week, but expect it to be the worst score that I've given this year, because all things aside, the graphics are pretty, the story's serviceable and all that. Yeah. The story being serviceable is more than Redfall had going for it in that category, but categorically everything else about the game has been worse. So
yeah.
Evil West. You know what else is kind of irks me with Evil West just a little bit? I mean, this isn't a huge gripe. So it has co-op, right?
Yeah.
But you both play as the same character in co-op. They didn't like bother to like say, here's Joe side character.
Or his sister or something.
You know, nothing like that. It's just you're both the exact same character. Kind of awkward.
It's just lazy.
A little bit, but that's forgivable. I just thought that was a little strange.
It's
Give me
just
a Dom. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's just funny how drastically different our experience was. I mean, I played it PC single player, no crashes at all. I thought the story was fine, the combat was fun, the graphics were nice. You know, I whizzed on through it and gave it a 7 and said, "Hey, if you can get it on sale, go for it." And now you're playing it. You're like, avoid this game at all costs if you're going to co-op. It's terrible.
It's just a broken mess. Like if it wasn't
sucks.
a broken mess, I think it'd be fine.
Right.
Combat's a little monotonous or whatever, but
it was, yeah. Totally.
Your gun feels like you're flicking spitballs at people. You know, the amount of times you have to punch something for it to die in this game is hilarious. Like you have to punch the ever living fuck out of things.
You really do.
Anyway,
those big guys with the shields are really annoying too. The ones that charge at you with the spiky shields.
Yeah, a little bit. You just have to block them so the shield gets charged and they drop it, and then I don't know. The game's stupid. Evil West. Next up, Disney Illusion Island continues to be just absolutely fantastic. The game, I mean, for what the game is, it's perfect at being that. Like literally, it's a Metroidvania platformer with no combat. And it's beautiful in couch co-op. Me and Amy have been playing it. I was really hyped on this game when I first saw the announcement.
Mm-hmm.
I basically bought it the first day it came out. The first moment I was free, like after its release, I went to the store and bought it. It's a low price game. I think it was I walked into GameStop and bought it for $35, still sealed. So I was like,
nice.
You know, it's just really, really good. The writing's clever. It's funny. The art style is great. The game runs flawlessly. I haven't had a single problem in this game.
Yeah.
Just complete contrast to Evil West in terms of everything with this game is just fucking it's perfect. Is it in the grand scheme of things like the best game of all time? No. But it is really good. And if you're looking for a platformer that you can either play by yourself or play with someone on the couch, it's really fun. Just a complete treasure release that I really can't strongly recommend enough. And
sounds awesome.
If it's, you know, even if you just want to introduce someone to the concept of a Metroidvania, this game is perfect because it has that map. It has the double backing. It has the exploration, you know. It has save points like every 5 feet. There's little mailboxes. And when you're playing co-op, what's cool is like, if for some reason, you know, your partner jumps into hazards too many times and dies, you just walk to a mailbox and they've turned into a little envelope and you just slap it and they come right back. Full health.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Full health and everything. So sometimes, like if I've taken a hit and there's a mailbox, I'll just be like, hang on, let me just kill myself real quick so you can just
get me back and I'm full health.
Another thing that's cool, you know, like in a lot of co-op platforming games, sometimes one player kind of gets ahead because somebody missed a jump or something.
Yep.
What's awesome in this is when that happens, it's not a bad thing. it's actually a good thing because your partner that you're playing with has a button they can drop a rope and then you can climb the rope back up to them.
That's awesome.
It's like, it's just perfectly thought out. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It really is. So, at $39 or 35, whatever, I think I got it for 35 because I bought it at GameStop and I have their monthly discount or whatever at the $5. So it's $39 brand new. This is an absolute
Awesome.
If you have a Switch, this game must be played.
Well, and I wish more companies realize that it's okay to release a game that's not $60.
Mm-hmm.
There's not enough of that. I mean, especially in the console world. I mean, in PC, it's not so much of an issue, but like in consoles, I mean, the amount of games where I look at the case and I go, this looks fun, but $60?
Yeah.
I'm not spending $60 on this.
I mean, now, to be fair, there is a ton of garbage you can buy on the Switch Online store.
Yes, agreed.
What is with their store, by the way?
Dude, I have no idea. Nintendo's always been so tight with like what gets the Nintendo seal of approval, and all of a sudden on Switch, they're like, "Oh, you have a 27-cent shovelware space shooter? Sure, it can go on the shop."
Dude, every other game on Switch Marketplace is a hentai sliding puzzle game.
You're not kidding. You're not lying, dude.
Seriously.
It's weird, man.
And like,
it's so un-Nintendo.
Well, and what's also funny, like if you go into the news thing on the Switch and it's like, here's the new releases for the week, it'll show that shit there. It's like, oh yeah, Hentai Girls has come out, and it's like day one release. It'll show like normal price $19.99, but it's on sale for $4. It's like, but it just released today.
Yeah, it just released today. Is it really a sale?
And you know, so like, curiosity, I didn't buy any of these, but I clicked on like one of the pages just to see. I'm like, is this really as fucking lewd as I think it is, with it having the word hentai like in the title?
Yeah, not a good sign.
And it's just like, these games, they're like 9 slutty anime girl pictures, and yeah, you do a like sliding square puzzle thing.
Yeah.
And it'll be like 4 puzzles per girl picture, and each time you solve a puzzle, she loses a piece of clothing. Good old Nintendo Switch. And so like, I'm scrolling through the digital like marketplace, and dude, like, I'll scroll down past like 4 pages of that bullshit and then see a game that like actually matters.
Right.
It's like, do they not understand how impossible it is to find like good content on their store?
I mean, dude, I've gotten so many great deals on the Switch Online store. Like, I mean, what I do is I go right to the deals and I just scroll. And you're right. You will go through 20 pages of crap and then find like, oh my God, it's the BioShock trilogy for $10.
Yes.
Why would I not want that on a handheld device? Done. Take my $10.
So think about
easy transaction. Done deal.
Think about how many people open up the thing and never impulse buy something quality because there's so much bullshit. Like,
no, you're not wrong.
Hentai girls. Imagine if you looked like in your friends list on Switch and you saw like your buddy
I'd die, dude. I'd call them out so
was
fast.
Playing hentai girls.
Dude, you'd have a text message immediately. Be like, "What you doing over there, bro? Huh? What you playing?
Solving puzzles, man. One-handed.
You solving some titty puzzles over there, bro? What you doing?
One-handed puzzle solving." Like the next week, you see him at Best Buy. What are you doing, man? Oh, I'm buying a new controller. What happened to your last one? The buttons are sticky. Anyway, on to the game that I'm playing by myself, the one that I'm most interested in talking about. Tactics Ogre Reborn. It's so good. It's so good. So the original game, this is like a like update of the old Tactics Ogre. It's the same game. The art style that they went with is not going to be for everyone because it's very old fashioned. But I think it serves it well. It's a little cartoony in ways, but I mean, just the overall presentation, everything in this game is just so good. The music's great. The menu system is decent. But it's also like a proper, it's a proper tactics game. It's a little bit deeper than, like Triangle Strategy was. There's a lot to chew on, and it doesn't handhold, which will and won't turn off people. But what's cool is anything in the game at any point in time, you hit the select button on the Switch controller, and a little box will pop up and give like a hyper detailed description of whatever you're looking at. So like if you're like, I don't quite know what this does, you just hit the button. It's like, boom, here's exactly what it does. And I'm like, that's brilliant. So if you didn't catch everything your first time through in the intro, which you won't, you can just quickly hit that button and see what's up. It's really good. I'm in chapter 2 of the game. It is high stakes because if someone in your party dies, you do have a few turns to resurrect them. But if you don't in time, said party member shall just poof. They're not the people in your party that can die are not people you will get attached to. Okay. They're just like Robbie randoms that join your squad that you can like level up. So sort of like XCOM in that way. Like you build the narrative of why you think they're cool. But in between battles, you can go to a shop and there's like 8 recruits there at any time. And you can recruit, and you have to start over again with their leveling.
Level them again. Yep, just like XCOM.
But it's super cool, really really fun. I'm excited to finish it. I don't know. There's a whole hell of a lot more to say on a game that old. It harkens back. If you're not familiar with it, just think Final Fantasy Tactics. It's similar to that, but in some ways better. So, Johnny, that wraps up what I've been playing this week. Tell us about what you've done,
Mike. Why did you tell me to play Doki Doki Literature Club?
Because I knew that you would like. I didn't tell you to play it, by the way. I did not. I said all the things though that hooked you into.
Oh yeah. No, I had to see it for myself.
You've got to check it out, and I assume that you found everything I said about it to be accurate.
Yeah, man. It's not really like anything I've ever really played. It's very much like the visual novel virtual dating thing, but then that's not what it is at all. And it goes dark places and has you do things that I've never done in a video game. And I know that sounds dirty, but it's really not. I don't want to spoil what that thing is, but there's something in a video game that I'd never had a video game tell me to do. And that was interesting. So Doki Doki Literature Club, if you have a stomach for horror doesn't scare you away, it's free on Steam. There's like the plus version or whatever you can spend money on, but just like the original version of the game is just completely free on Steam. Anybody on PC could play it. But I will reiterate what Mike said. Keep this game the fuck away from children. Anybody that has a hard time dealing with like emotional trauma or grief should probably not play this game.
If you aren't just a stone son of a bitch.
Yeah, pretty much. Yep.
Yeah. If anything adverse would bother you, like in real life, then stay the hell away from Doki Doki Literature Club.
But it was interesting. I mean, it was I don't know, 3 hours, maybe 4.
It's super short, yeah.
Yeah, it was super short, and I I walked away from it. It was a very unique experience. I'd never played a game like it. I don't really know if I want to put a score on it. I don't know if it's really even worthy of like a full blown score. But it was an interesting
I scored it
experience.
7.
That sounds right.
I scored it.
Yeah,
a
that
7.
sounds right. Yeah, I'm down with that. Next up, Curse of the Dead Gods. I had a lot of really positive things to say about this game last week. That positivity faded as the difficulty curve hit a brick wall for me.
We kind of need a deep dive on this game because this is it.
This is it.
So what should somebody know about Curse of the Dead Gods that's just sitting down with it for the first time?
So let's see. So Curse of the Dead Gods, every time you go into the next room, you gain 20 corruption. Every time you stack 100 corruption, which traps can hit you with corruption, enemies can hit you with corruption, some bosses can hit you with a fuck ton of corruption. Anytime you hit 100 corruption, the next door you go into, not only do you gain another 20 corruption, but you gain a curse. And that curse remains, and they will stack up. So you hit 100, you now have 1 curse. You hit 200, you now have 2 curses. You hit 3, you now have 3. When you kill a boss, which the later dungeons, there are 3 of them. Each one that you kill, you can choose which curse you want to go away. Now, what's interesting and what makes this such a fucking hard game is that there's so many different synergies between the curses that you can get. So, like, for example, one of the curses, if you're hit, you burst out dark flame and you put out all the light in the room and the room becomes dark again. And the way the light and dark works with this game, if you're in the dark, you take more damage. If you're in the light, you deal more damage. So when you walk into a room, first thing you want to do is whip out your torch and light a fire wherever you can so that you're fighting in the light. But then there's a curse that when you get hit, it puts out all the light. But on top of that, you deal 10% extra damage while in light. So if you get really good at your parries, you get really good at your timing, and you can keep those fires going, it's awesome. But the second you get hit, that dark flame explodes, all the lights are out, and now everything you're taking is more damage. And that's just one small little example. You have your primary weapon, you have your secondary weapon, and you have your two-handed weapon. Your two-handed weapon is a separate stance. You have to actually like switch to it. So the two-handed weapons are like, there's like a big mace, there's a big spear, there's a big crossbow, there's a big longbow, there's bombs, things like that. But your primary and your secondary, they combo. So they're within the same stance. So you can XXY will be a combo, or YYX will be a combo, or XXX, YYY, etc., etc. But it's all about finding whatever thing is going well for you as you're leveling through. So say you're going through and you're like, I have a ton of extra damage. I have my primary weapon deals lightning. My secondary weapon deals lightning. But my two-hander isn't really helping me much here. So as you're going through these levels, you see these paths, and you're like, I can change my weapon in this room. So you go into that room, you go get your two-handers, and you go, oh, here we go. Here's a lightning hammer. Okay, I'm doing full lightning build. And then once you feel like you've got the weapons that you want, then as you're traveling through the path, you can go for weapon upgrades, you can go for gold, you can go for relics, which are basically like just buffs for that run. Some will increase the amount of healing you receive from certain effects. One will make it so you can't take damage more than 10% at a time. That was a big one I found. Anyway, long story short, I rocked through the first 7 dungeons with relative ease. Most of them was 1 attempt. I think a couple of them were 2, and then I think one of them was 3 attempts. I got to the 8th dungeon, and I was stuck on the 8th dungeon for 4 days. 4 days of me sitting down, firing up Curse of the Dead Gods, and playing that level over and over and over again for 3 fucking hours. I was like devoted to take this game down. I finally, on like, it was day 4 or day 5, I said, fuck it, I give in. I pulled up the assist mode and I changed 2 things. Number 1 was I made the parry window a little bit more forgiving, and I made it so that it required more corruption to gain a curse. So instead of 100 corruption to gain a curse, I think I set it to 130 or 140, something like that. So just a little bit, because I kept, like, it got to the point where I could get to that final boss every time, and I would get close to killing him and he would beat me, and then I'd start it again and it'd be another fucking, I mean, this shit takes like 20-30 minutes every time you're doing it. I think it took 30 attempts for me to get through that.
Yeesh.
So as soon as I went into the assist mode and I changed those 2 settings, I blasted through level 8. Level 9 took me 2 or 3 tries. Level 10 took me 2 or 3 tries. Final level took me maybe 5. You know, it was still hard. I found my challenge level where I had to be on it and I couldn't be sloppy, but I wasn't like just getting absolutely demolished. I finally caved in. But I will say, for anyone that really enjoys challenging games, this game is harder than Returnal. Straight up, no question. Curse of the Dead Gods, for me at least, I found to be way more difficult than Returnal. I do still recommend this game, although I was cursing its name. I'm glad that there was an assist mode that let me kind of just feather the pedal a little here and tweak it there, and I'm like, okay, now I feel like I'm still challenged, but I'm not throwing my controller across the room. I finally just gave in and found my level of comfort. So I screwed myself out of a few achievements, but otherwise, credits rolled. Curse of the Dead Gods is done. I give it an 8.
8. Do you know IGN scored that a 9? That game?
I'm not surprised. It's a great game.
It's absolutely like my least favorite kind of game.
Yeah.
I fucking
dude, there is no story. There is literally no story.
Yeah, roguelikes I'm really particular about. And yeah, one of my main turnoffs is the punishing difficulty, like just for the sake of being punishingly difficult.
Dude, it took me over 30 hours to beat this game.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be a no for me, dog.
I was hammering away at it, bro.
What else you got?
So that's 2 games down this week. I fired up another new game. I got it from Humble Bundle, I think a month or 2 ago. It's called Bendy and the Dark Revival, and it's a first-person, I think, horror game. I'm only maybe 30 minutes in, and so far I'm getting Amnesia vibes. It kind of there's lockers I can hide in, for example. So I think this is very much a, oh no, the big bad's coming. I got to run and hide. I got to sneak around them. But the art style's really cool. It's you're an artist for like a cartoon movie studio that's definitely supposed to be like a down on its luck Disney almost. And Bendy is their most recognizable character. And there's some weirdness with Bendy in the building with ink monsters and all kinds of crazy shit, but it all is like cartoony, cel-shaded vibe. Art style's very cool. It runs crazy well. I fired it up and I had vertical sync on, and it was at 144 frames per second. I got curious and decided to turn the vertical sync off, and then went back to the game, and it was like 400, 500, 600 frames a second. I'm like, all right, I'm not trying to cook my GPU. That's a bit much. 600 frames a second. Yeah, I think we can put the vertical sync back on. But no, I'm not really far enough in it to have an opinion of it yet, but it's a game that I got as a part of one of my subscriptions, and it seems cool. So far, I'm intrigued to see what else it has for me. And then the big boy I've been talking about for years, the big boy that I bought into early access 3 years ago. Baldur's Gate 3 is here, ladies and gentlemen, and all of the chaos and craziness that is Dungeons and Dragons exists. For example, earlier, don't worry, this is super mild spoiler, not big story thing or anything. We got to a gate. These people were asking to be let in, and they were being chased by goblins. So it turned into this huge fight where there's the people at the gate are fighting the goblins, and we're helping them fight the goblins. We kill everyone, and one of the characters that was trying to open the gate took a couple arrows and died. Well, earlier that night, I had raided a tomb and I found a pendant that gave me a spell. It's a necromancy spell that allows me to talk to the dead. So I went, well, let's just see if this thing works. So I went over to the guy that just died. He's laying there with 3 arrows in his chest. And my eyes glow green and I float him up all fucking dark and necromancery and have a conversation with the guy. Who were you? What were your professions? How did you die? Do you have anything you want to tell any? I mean, it's like, and this is not a quest. This is not, there was not like a, go do, this was just literally, I wonder if this will work. And so far, everything that I've just randomly, there was one enemy I got in this one fight where like almost my entire fucking party was dead. Everybody's low health. I'm down to like my barbarian is right almost within range of this last guy. He can't walk the 5 meters needed to do my main hand attack, right? I got to finish this guy off. So I look and I have no actions that'll get me anywhere to him because I'm a barbarian. If I can get within range, great. If I can't, I'm kind of fucked. So I go to my bonus actions, and one of them is throw. And I'm like, oh, what can I throw? And it's like, here's your inventory bag. Oh, well, there's an axe. Let me just throw that axe at him. Dead. So it really, they've put so much love into this game that so far it feels like if you can think of it, you can probably do it. And that's really crazy that like you can just go, well, if I could, let me think. I have items that can make a grease, like a big grease path. You could make a grease path and then shove someone into it and they would be prone and rolling all around. And that's just one random fucking bottle in my inventory. So as these fights get harder and harder and scarier, you're going to be going through your inventory bag going, all right, what else do I got here? What else can I try to use? And it's really intriguing. The graphics are great. There's voice acting for everything so far. Even every line of narration is read out by a voice actor. There's no reading that is not added to with voice acting. Everywhere I go, in every nook and cranny, I find something cool. I find a story. I find a new character. I find an item that I'm like, oh shit, what is this? Like this feels endless. This feels like a game I could play for 300, 400 hours and be just fine. And the incredible thing is, as much as I raved about Divinity Original Sin 2's split screen co-op, this shit's even better. I can be on my side at the entrance to the town that me and my wife just walked into, and I'm having a 5-minute conversation with like the mayor of the town while my wife is running around town pickpocketing people and raiding chests and selling stuff. And I'm talking like on my side of the screen is full cinematic, like up close in detail, and she's just still playing the game. That's why this game's not running on a console that we'll talk about later.
Indeed. Yeah, I'm I've been around the wheel some with Divinity Original Sin 2, and I think part of it might have just been the timing.
Yeah.
Besides all the bullshit that I went through trying to like sort out where I was actually going to play it, that resulted in me buying it 3 times. So I might be ready to tackle something like that. I don't know. I need to just make sure I've cleared out all this other shit I'm working on. I still got Resident Evil 4 sitting on deck I need to jump into, but I am intrigued. This has those Dragon Age vibes from like when the first one came out.
And that was what made Divinity Original Sin 2 such a slam dunk for me, is it reminded me of the old, I mean, man, back in the day when we used to play like Neverwinter Nights and those old school CRPGs. This has that same vibe, but with amazing graphics and production value. Like, I mean, you just don't see in this genre. It's crazy.
Well, let's take a quick break from Baldur's Gate, touch on a couple other things, and then we're actually going to come back to Baldur's Gate because there's more to talk about that's happened this past week. So here's my main diversion.
Okay.
Red Dead Redemption is coming to the Switch and PS4 this week. Not Red Dead Redemption 2, but Red Dead Redemption, the game that's actually the sequel to Red Dead Redemption 2, is making its way to Switch and PS4, which I think is fantastic. This is great news. Albeit there's some fucking foolery afoot as well.
Of course.
So, if you are kind of newer to the scene and you didn't play Red Dead Redemption, the original, it's a fantastic game. It came out, God, what, 10 years ago now? It's been a while. It was an Xbox 360 game, PS3, and it's been playable via backwards compatibility on Xbox platforms for some time now. And that's why it's only being released on Switch and PS4. You could already play it on Xbox. This isn't a remake, it's not a remaster, it's not an upres, it's not anything. It's just the old 360 era game finally coming over to Switch and PS4. So thing number one, Johnny, what a missed opportunity. How so many players like in the PC modding community that have gotten this ROM file have this bitch running at 60 frames a second and 4K, no problem. So how hard is it for the people with the fucking source code to do that and then print money?
I mean, shit, even if you want to be a cheap ass, reach out to the modders and go, hey, $5,000 and show us what you did.
Yeah.
And the modder would be like, really? $5,000? Oh my God. And then they're going to sell, 2 million copies over the next 10 years. Yeah, it's a huge missed opportunity. That was the same thought I had, is like, I understand that remakes, like a true remake, takes a lot. But these re-releases where they're not up-resing anything, they're not changing anything. I mean, it's the same thing that had people mad about that Prince of Persia Sands of Time trailer. Like, that game desperately needs a remake, but then you see the trailer and you're like, bro, you turned anti-aliasing up to the point where everything's blurry and it's higher resolution. Congratulations.
Yes, you've done nothing.
Yeah, go do some textures. Like, go do something. Now, on the other hand, though, Red Dead Redemption on the 720p screen on a Nintendo Switch is probably going to look pretty goddamn good.
I'm absolutely, because the only reason I'm interested in this, I have it for, I still have my original copy for 360.
Yeah.
If I really want to play it on a console, I'm just going to fire it up on 360 and play it like I did back in the day in a 4:3 aspect ratio television, because that's how I played it back then, sitting on my couch at that house in Linthicum. That's where I was in life. And the only draw here is that I can get it for the Nintendo Switch, and I can
the PS4 release is weird.
Well, it's to bring it to Sony platforms, because currently the only way that you can play it is through game streaming, I believe, on the PS4.
Think that's correct.
Which is horrid.
It's not great.
Not the best way to experience this game. So I talked about it not being improved quality in any way, shape, or form. So it's a super old game. They've just thrown it onto a new medium.
Yep.
How the fuck is it going to cost $49.99?
Yeah, it's bullshit.
Now, you are getting the Undead Nightmare DLC with it, which is also fantastic.
Great. It shouldn't be $50.
But you can buy Red Dead Redemption 2 for $20. Yeah, and that game is Yeah, it's a tough value proposition to
Yeah,
here
that's
is a not updated thing
right.
that would be in middle school by now.
Well, I mean, a perfect counter argument is the example I just gave. I bought the BioShock trilogy on Switch for $10, right? And if we want to talk about a new release, the Arkham trilogy is going to be $60. So that's $20 a game. Not a bad value. I look at that and go, hey, if I didn't already have those games on my PC, $60 for the Arkham trilogy is intriguing. $50 for Red Dead Redemption only? It's dumb.
It's truly only worth it to me to have the physical copy and have it for the Switch.
Yeah.
I otherwise do not care. I guess if you're a PlayStation guy and like you really want trophies, like that's possibly a draw, but
$50 is still I don't
steep.
see many people spending $50 on. It's not even a remaster, an upscale, an upres, nothing.
Let me stop you dead in your tracks there. This game is going to sell like fucking crazy. All right.
You think so?
Oh my God. Yes. Oh my God, dude. This game is going to sell like crazy. Think about how many people came in on Red Dead Redemption 2 that have never played this one. And this is the fucking sequel to the one that they've played.
It's true.
Like in honest graphically and all that, it's not the most dated looking game.
No, it's not. It's not.
Because it was super ahead of its time when it came out.
Agreed.
So it's not a horrendously ugly game. And it's the sequel, basically, to what people already loved. And I mean, that game is sold. I don't want to get this wrong. Red Dead Redemption 2 total sales, 53 million copies. This game's gonna sell like fucking crazy. I mean, but it's just done in a manner that is so lazy.
Yeah.
You know, there's just nothing. But
I mean,
hey, they know what they're doing.
I don't get it. I guess. I mean, I guess, but
I'm buying it. I'm bitching.
I'm not.
I'm buying it. I'm bitching. So, physical copy will be released on October 13th. But you can buy it digitally August 17th. You are fucking insane if you buy this digitally at full price.
Agreed. Agreed.
That I will say. You're fucking insane if you do that. Like $50 for this old ass game.
Well, I mean, and that is one of the things though about the Nintendo eShop, shop online, whatever they call their store. Their sales are like constant. So I'm just gonna wait till Red Dead's $20. And like I might have to wait a year, but it'll be $20 and then I'll buy it. That's where I'm at. And I will buy it digitally. But not for $50.
No, it's buying it digitally for $50. That's fucking insane.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because think about if you were to do that. Like think if Red Dead Redemption had come out on Steam back in the day, and then like tomorrow you decided to buy it at full price in 2023. Like that's essentially what that is. If you buy it digitally for $50, you'd have to be fucking nuts. Yeah. And you know what? Millions of people are. So they're smart. Yep. They know what they're doing. They're going
to make money for sure.
They are going to make all of the money. And hopefully this one works fine, unlike the Grand Theft Auto collection, which works fine now, I've heard. It was a bit of a mess when it came out because they had like AI do the port. It wasn't done by actual people. Did you not know that?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, the Grand Theft Auto collection. No human hands touched that. It was all done by AI.
And they just went, this will be good. This is fine. Everything's
fine.
To
the most relevant, historically important franchise in all of gaming.
Yeah.
They're like, AI's got this. Yeah, no, that really happened.
Oh my God. Rockstar, you can stop working so hard on your Grand Theft Auto Online bullshit and just
They're working on 6.
actually
They're
remaster
working
your
on
games.
6.
Yeah, they are. They're working on 6. That's true.
They got to get. They don't need any more money though, so I don't get the AI thing.
It's true.
They
It's
could
true, they
buy Rhode Island and just tell everyone in Rhode Island, hey, you're all going to school for the next 4 years. And then after that, you're all working on Grand Theft Auto 7. We're going to pay
By the whole
we're going to
town.
pay all of you. The whole state. We're going to pay all of you $300,000 a year. And
I'll move to Rhode Island to work for Rockstar for $300,000 a year.
They've totally got that kind of money. I mean, Jeff Bezos makes that much money taking a shit. Baldur's Gate 3.
Indeed. This is a big boy, man. This is a big milestone in gaming, in my opinion.
With this past week's release of Baldur's Gate 3, the next installment of the long dormant series, originally made by BioWare, now made by Larian. Well, there's been a slew of news and hype. So I kind of curated some of the top stories from this week surrounding Baldur's Gate 3. Number 1, concurrent players on Steam. This is one of my favorite things that we can look at, because it kind of gives you a gauge of just how fucking nuts popular a game is. At the moment I'm writing this article, there's close to 600,000 people playing Baldur's Gate 3 right now. The peak, 814,666 concurrent players on Steam.
That's just fucking wild.
The best-selling, highest-grossing game of this year, Hogwarts Legacy, is the only game released this year to have a higher concurrent base. And that's Hogwarts. That's Harry Potter.
Yeah.
And it wasn't by much. I mean, Hogwarts Legacy turned in 879,000 to Baldur's Gate's 814,000.
Well, and the thing to keep in mind with that, when Baldur's Gate 3 Early Access first launched, it was sold on GOG. GOG. It was not sold on Steam. That's where I bought it. I bought it on GOG. My playing is not on that Steam count. So how many, probably 50K or 100,000 or maybe 200,000 that bought in early on GOG are not even included in that number. So I think if you actually had a way to put the GOG numbers and the Steam numbers together, I think Baldur's Gate beat Hogwarts on PC.
I think that the concurrent data tracking by Steam is if you have Steam installed on your computer, it knows what you're playing. So
if you launch Baldur's Gate through Steam, I think that would work. But if you're launching GOG on its own, which is what I'm typically doing,
well, they're not counting you, Johnny.
I know, but I'm saying I can't be the only fucking one. I'm just some dude that bought in early and went, I do it through GOG. Okay,
well, to be fair, all right. To be fair, Hogwarts number is going to be way fucking bigger than this. Just because.
Oh yeah, especially across all the consoles. Well, yeah, absolutely. It's not even
the argument
close.
You're making is the same argument you would use to say why your argument's wrong.
Yeah, but what about their PS5 numbers? Yep, you're right.
Everywhere, but they came close. And what's interesting too is if we run through the all-time concurrent games, it's in the top 10 of all time.
It's crazy.
So everyone's favorite game, Goose Goose Duck, comes in at number 10.
What the fuck is Goose Goose Duck?
Followed by Baldur's Gate 3, then Hogwarts Legacy, then New World, then Elden Ring. Elden Ring was at 953,000 at its peak. Cyberpunk 2077, over 1 million. Dota 2, Lost Ark, Counter-Strike Global Offensive, and then the number one that no one's ever going to hold a candle to, I don't think. PUBG Battlegrounds at its peak had 3,257,248 players.
Crazy, dude. That's double second place.
Yeah, there's still a strong base for that game, which I'm like, really?
I don't
In
get
the
it.
last 24 hours, 350,000 people concurrently playing PUBG.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Get out of here.
But I mean, it's you got to give some credit here to Larian. I mean, this is a very in-depth turn-based Dungeons and Dragons RPG. This is not the type of game that typically pulls numbers anywhere close to this. I mean, these are Dragon Age numbers. This game's crushing.
It's actually Dragon Age's not on this list.
Not on the top 10. Yeah,
they ain't nowhere close, Johnny Palace.
that's wild, man. Baldur's Gate crushing.
Yeah, they gave him the old big dickin'.
Speaking of big dickin',
See what I did there?
I see
Put it
exactly
on a
what you did
T-stand
there.
for you.
I caught up that I saw that segue coming. So I got you, bro.
Lots of dong. You actually have choices for your dick.
You do. Yeah, you get to choose which penis or vulva you prefer for your character.
Varying degrees of circumcised and hair. It's just the thing you want your family walking in on.
Yeah, so unfortunately, because I have children, right when you fire up the game, it's like there are some options you can turn on or off. And then the first one is nudity, and I was like, I'm just gonna go ahead and just turn this off.
That won't save you.
I'm aware.
That won't save you. There's so many things in this game. So perhaps this is a mild spoiler, but as early as the character customization screen, this game likes the full frontal, and it's similar to Cyberpunk in that way, but then it goes much further because like you can just straight up run around the game naked if you want. Dong flapping in the wind. Got to roll initiative for that dong, Johnny Bellows.
Well, and there are some classes that actually take bonuses for not wearing any kind of armor. So, like a monk, for example, you could just be a buck ass naked monk, just running around, just straight flurry blows while completely naked with your dong flapping around. Sounds awesome.
So if you if nothing else, if you're just a video game pervert, this game could be for you. You know what's funny is the bear fucking video is actually what was the best advertising for this game.
Oh yeah,
the pre-orders after that news came out went through the roof. People were like, "Oh my god, what?" And then people just bought it like crazy. So I wonder the drop off on this game is going to be hard. It's going to be brutal because so many people are going to have come in because they're little horn dogs that want to play with the dick and the customization screen, and they're going to find out like this game's hard as fucking nails. And
hard as fucking nails.
Away they go.
Hard as this game is not for everyone, but if you can take the time and you know which key on your keyboard is the quick save button, you shall be just fine.
It's literally Dungeons and Dragons is what people got to understand with these. And that means you are at the mercy of dice.
Yes. Yep, and there have been I've done, I don't know, the first like 3-4 hours of this game I've done 4 or 5 times, and I can tell you that your experience in each interaction, each conversation, any of those types of things where you're trying to persuade or intimidate or deceive or whatever, any of those things, that dice roll will drastically change what happens. I mean, my first playthrough. One of the people that was on the ship with you, she's a Gith Yankee, which a lot of people don't like Gith Yankees, and she's held up in a cage, and there's 2 tieflings that are going, well, what do we do with her? Do we kill her? Do we just leave her here to die? Like, what are we going to do? And so you go up and you can try to deceive them, where it's something like, don't worry, I'll handle it. You guys get out of here. This is too dangerous for you two, or something like that. And they say, you get your dice roll, and they go, oh, you're right. We'll go back to town. Well, my first time I went and I tried to persuade them. I failed miserably, and it turned into a bloodbath, and I murdered both of them. Right now, in this playthrough that I'm playing with my wife, her character has high charisma, so I said, go talk to those guys. So she went over. She had that conversation. Rolled with like +8 bonus on the roll, and rolled like a 24 or some shit. And they're like, all right, cool. We'll see you at the village. And then fast forward an hour later, there they are in the village having a conversation with us. I fucking murdered them where they stood. And now in our playthrough, they're like at the camp, like, hey, thanks again. Take it easy. It's pretty wild.
The best advice with those kind of games is don't be in a rush. Take your time. Leave places that are sketchy, because it will have no mercy on you.
You will stumble in. Yeah, no, we stumbled into an area today where the enemy took one turn, and I went, pause the game, load the game. Let's go right back to before we walked in here, because we're not supposed to be here right now. Because that guy just one-shot him, and he almost one-shot her. It's time to go.
Let's see. I'm going to skip over this. We finally got some clarification from Larian regarding the absence from the Xbox platform. So this is a report from IGN. I'm just going to go through it. Writing on Twitter, Larian's director of publishing, Michael Dowse, seemed to imply that the issues relating to launching the game on Microsoft's platform may not be resolved until next year. We have quite a few engineers working very hard to do what no other RPG of this scale has achieved: seamless drop-in, drop-out co-op on Series S. We hope to have an update by the end of the year. This is what we've been talking about, and it's an interesting problem that the Series S has basically, in terms of the console universe, turned this into a PS5 exclusive. I'm curious.
Timed exclusive.
I'm curious to know what your thoughts on this are, because I have some thoughts on this myself that maybe aren't the norm.
Well, I mean, Larian grew their company, I think, 4 times bigger than they were for Divinity Original Sin 2, and they've been working on this game for 6 years. This is a major labor of love. And again, the amount of detail and shit that they put into it. And I'm sure that if the Xbox was a cakewalk and it was just like ported over and bing, bang, boom, I'm sure it would have been released the same time as PS5 and as PC. But we've had this discussion before with the Xbox Series S. The problem is that you can't release a game and say this only runs on the X. Microsoft won't let you. You have to release the games. They'll play on the X. They'll play on the S. Now, I understand Larian saying we don't want to compromise. But I wonder if there would be a way that they could just say split screen co-op's not supported on the S. They can't do that. I can
answer that question for you. So It is Microsoft's policy that while the Series S, you can run things at a lower resolution or lower frame rate or a lesser level of detail.
Right.
You, however, cannot remove modes or other features. It has to be the same game between the X and S. So if a developer can't deliver on that, they won't take it.
Got it.
Which is interesting and kind of leads to some of my thoughts on this.
Okay, let's hear them.
although Larian has grown since Divinity, Larian's still very small.
Yep.
They're very small. And they don't have a ton of resources to throw every direction to all these platforms. Naturally, their first priority is PC, because that's where these games live and die. But after that, I think they were forced to make a decision. And I don't think, I truly don't think that anyone, how's the right way to say this? There's no reason that this won't work on a Series S. Point blank. Like this whole narrative that's kind of being spun, forgive me, but by fanboys that are saying, oh, well, the Series S just can't do this. That is ignorant to say, because if it can't do it, then why are they working on it? Why is it going to happen? Why have we been told it's going to happen next year? You know, think back to Divinity Original Sin 2. Smaller team, but eventually it made it out on all platforms. So I kind of take an issue with Larian here and how they've put this out to the public, because I think what they're saying is complete fucking bullshit. And I kind of want to slap them for it, because they're making this into something that it's not. Imagine if Xbox had the biggest player base between systems. They don't. But imagine if they did. Don't you think that Larian would throw the personnel and resources at that to have that goal achieved sooner? Well, just think of the antithesis of what I just said. Sony does have the bigger player base. It's easier to work for because you have a more unified family of consoles. There's a digital and a physical. That's it. So of course you're going to release on PlayStation first, because you don't have a lot of employees. It's a very ambitious product. You wanted to make sure it got out on PC. It's not coming out for PS5 for a while. So the only reason that it's not coming out on Xbox is because your company made a financial decision to do what was best for your company based on the resources that you had available to put energy where you saw fit. So this whole, oh, the problem's the Series S, shut the fuck up. That's not the problem.
Well, I'm going to counter you a little bit here.
How?
I think it's an issue of RAM, bro. An Xbox Series X and a PS5 both have 16
just
gigs
before
of RAM.
you go off on a tangent, though, let me just pause you real quick. If the issue is the RAM, the Series S isn't getting a RAM upgrade.
Yes.
So,
oh no, Larian's going to figure it out, and I fully agree that they're going to get there.
You're saying that you're countering me, right?
Yeah.
My point is, I think I might have missed it on you. I'm saying that the only reason that they haven't, that the reason we're getting the Xbox last is because that's a decision that they made. But they are presenting to the public that the Series S itself is the problem. And if that is the case, which it's bullshit, then you wouldn't ever be able to release the game there. So the problem is that their allocated time and energy said, we'll get to that last, which I don't think's dumb. But what I do think's dumb is that they've come out in the public and said that that piece of hardware is the problem, not that they just made a decision to put that piece of hardware off.
But if that piece of hardware has significantly less RAM and you have to optimize, tweak, give some more love, spend some more time, is that being dishonest to say this is going to take more time? The
That's not what
Series
they're
S
saying.
is going to take
That's
us more
not what
time.
they're saying. I'm right.
What was their exact quote again?
So we have quite a few engineers working very hard to do what no other RPG of this scale has achieved. Seamless drop-in, drop-out co-op on Series S. We hope to have an update by the end of the year. That's the quote.
Okay, yeah.
So they're targeting the
saying
Series S as being the problem.
Okay, so like I said, in this game, if you and I are sitting on the couch
Mhm.
playing the game
I
split
know how
screen,
it works.
you can fast travel to Baldur's fucking gate and get into a fight with 20 goblins while I am at the beach having a conversation with a character on the clear other side of the game. And if you think that's easy to do with 8 gigs of RAM, I don't know what to tell you.
I don't care if it's easy or not. That's not the fucking point. They're going to do it.
Yeah, they'll figure it
So
out.
I don't
agree.
care if it's hard.
But it takes more time.
That's
If everything works as it is, it's 16 gigs on the PS5 and 16 gigs
I'm
on the PC.
not debating that.
And right.
What am I saying?
You're saying that they could have devoted more people or they could have prioritized differently.
Correct.
Yeah.
If they wanted to, they could have turned this a different way.
Okay, but
the point that you're missing is that the reason why they didn't makes sense. It's because the PS5 user base is much bigger. So it does make more sense from the standpoint of getting a return on your investment to delay the Xbox release. But I think it's pretty dishonest or misleading to come out and dump a bucket of gas on a problem that you created by how you decided to spend and allocate your personnel.
I mean, I feel like the same could be said for Microsoft hamstringing all the developers to make games on a next-gen console with significantly lower hardware requirements.
I mean, doesn't the Switch do that?
I think that if Larian were given the option to release it on the Series X and not the S, I think it would have been out the same fucking day as PS5.
I don't disagree with that.
So them saying this delay is because of the S is because it is because of the S. The S can't do the shit that they needed to do, so they got to go back to the drawing board and figure it out. So do you delay the release on all of the systems, or do you go, you know what, we can hit our release date for PS5, we can hit our release date for PC, we can work through fall and into winter to get it working on the S, and once that's good, then we release.
I have
it on
a simpler
both Xbox
solution.
systems.
When you say something to the public, because again, you're kind of straw manning me here. What I'm saying is how they presented this to the public, I don't agree with. Okay, so you've straw manned all the other arguments that people make that I'm not making, right?
Okay.
Just come out and say that we decided to invest the limited resources we have towards the PS5 because that made sense for our company. That's fine. But that's not what they did. And that's what I'm talking about. They basically come out and just singled out the console that most Xbox users play on. I mean, most people don't have Series X's. Most people have Series S's, right? And by handling it this way, which that's what I have the problem with, is I think it's a little dishonest to come out and say, well, it's because the Series S. It's like Johnny said, yeah, it's only got fucking half the RAM and this and that's fine. But how can you say that on one hand, but on the other hand say, oh, well, we are going to put it out there?
Well, because one takes more time.
That's exactly right. So the truth is in between the 2 points. If they had unlimited time and resources, yeah, they'd all come out at the same time. It has nothing to do with the Series S existing. If they're crazy to not want it everywhere. Of course they want it out on every system. They would want it out on the Switch because every console you put it out on, that could be another 800,000 users that bought it.
Yep.
So the problem that I have is coming out and basically you've now made a really awkward situation, right? And I think it's intriguing because how does Microsoft want to react to this?
Right.
You know, Microsoft's huge. Why don't they just walk through Larian's door with a check and say no to this?
Right.
You know, it's a slap in the face to everyone that uses that platform for them to not just come out and say, well, look, guys, we only have 1,000 people working for us.
Right.
We decided to focus on Sony.
Yeah, I mean, I think you and I just fundamentally disagree, just in the fact that you took offense to what they said and I didn't. I thought what they said seemed fair and seemed like, okay, that makes sense. Like, I didn't think...
Well, why is this a news story?
You know, it's the first developer to say what a lot of us have been saying since the release of the Xbox Series X and S, and that's that I have trepidations about the Xbox Series S holding back this entire generation.
But it's not holding back anything. They're still going to release the game there
6 months later.
It's not holding back anything. Other companies don't have a problem putting out their games on both platforms at the same time. Larian does. It's their problem.
Okay,
you know what I mean?
See your point.
They have now given a foundation to the argument that you're putting forth that no one else had a problem with before. You know, and I'm not really cool with it. I think that's shitty because it just undermines what's actually true. What's actually true is you made the right decision for your company, right? You went after the bigger user base. If Xbox's user base was twice that of Sony's, we wouldn't be having this conversation. They would have fucking figured it out. You know what I mean? But it's that.
I agree there. I fully agree with that.
So it's bad press. It looks bad on Larian because I'm like, you really need to come out and clarify what you meant here, guys, because now everyone's doing what, and I'm not saying, you know, you're dumb or anything like that, but you're doing in this conversation, which is kind of why I wanted to have it. You're doing what everyone else is doing. There's very few people looking at this the way that I am, which, like I said, I kind of have a unique take on this whole thing,
right?
Because people are very reactionary and they always look for the simplest explanation in things. And it's like, where else have we had this problem? Isn't Hogwarts a fantastically beautiful game? Well, that got released on PS4. Horizon Forbidden West is an astounding game. That came out on PS4. You know, this is a Larian problem. This is not a Series S problem. You're not wrong. It's going to take a little bit more work to figure out how to do it there. Sure.
Yeah.
But it's a problem that no one else is fucking having. Everyone else is doing this. So I kind of took an exception with this whole scene. And it's something that I'm kind of disappointed about with it. Is it going to stop me? No, I don't care that much. But I hate the console war fanboying and shit. And Xbox just gets dunked on all the fucking time. And it's like, it's the hottest game out right now. It's bad press. It's a bad look by Larian to come out and not to say what's actually true. They made a decision to delay their development of Xbox because they have limited resources and they want the money from Sony. That's why it's not going to come out until 2024 on Xbox. And Microsoft's fucking right to say, no, you can't give us a half-baked version on the Series S.
I don't disagree with that.
They're dead right to do that. So it's Xbox guys, I got your back here. It doesn't feel great because Microsoft's kind of not the people I like picking up a flag for and having to wave. But in this particular situation, Indeed. It's not a good look. Right. That wraps up our discussion on Baldur's Gate 3. Johnny, I'm curious about this. It brings us to our final segment of the week. Mine's going to be real short, okay? So I'm just going to get mine out of the way real quick. I watched the Super Mario Brothers movie. I have a 3-word review of the movie. It's a movie. And that's the review. I think you're muted, by the way. It was a movie. It's fine.
That was how I felt about it. I didn't hate it. It wasn't a big piece of crap, but it was just kind of like, okay, well that happened. It didn't blow me away.
It was the pacing was like, for a movie, was like really strange. It's like, we decided to go into this sewer in Brooklyn, and now we're in the Magic Kingdom. But I got sent one place, and Mario got sent one place, Luigi got sent the other. I popped out of the pipe, and here's a mushroom dude. Hey, it's Toad, and he's just within 3 seconds decided we're going to be best friends, even though I've never met him before. Here's the princess. She's decided that we're going to be best friends, even though she's never met me before.
Yeah, no, I mean, it wasn't bad. I'll watch the sequel, but it was
fine. It was just fine.
I do have tickets for Mutant Mayhem tomorrow, though.
That's awesome.
I'm very excited. Have you seen the Rotten Tomato score on that?
No, I have not.
A Ninja Turtles movie, I think, has a 96, 97, something like that. So it's probably going to be the best animated movie of the year. Maybe Spider-Verse might still take it.
I like the Turtles. I am just so burnt out on all of these reboots. Give me something new.
All right, so my one-up, I was on a lunch break with my boss, who's a fellow guitar player. We grabbed our bite. As we're driving back, he said, let's go pop into Atomic real quick. So we go into Atomic Music. Mike Dawson, what is it? What is a type of guitar that Johnny Paulus has a severe weakness to?
What type?
Yeah, what style of guitar? Fender
Telecasters.
Fender Telecaster. Now, what's the thing that you've heard me mention on many, many occasions? The one thing that I need to add to my arsenal. It's not a guitar, it's not a bass, but a
Telecaster.
Baritone.
Oh.
I walked into Atomic Music. They had a silver body, black pickguard Telecaster with a humbucker in the bridge and 2 Tele neck pickups, one in the middle, one in the neck. The knobs on the front panel were like Fender amp
I know the
knobs.
exact guitar you're talking about. It's the blacktop baritone.
And it was a subsonic blacktop baritone, and it was like I picked it up and was like, Jesus Christ, they could put the Johnny Paulus signature model on the headstock. I was so fucking angry when I saw it. Oh, I was mad. I don't have $1,000 to spend on a fucking guitar, but God damn, it was awesome.
The blacktop baritone. Let's see, that was from about 10 years ago.
Yeah, sounds about right.
You can get them for less than that on Reverb, by the way. Atomic's prices are always kind of fucking
jacked.
Yeah,
really? Okay, well, I think I know what I want next.
Not time. A lot less, but a little bit less. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like $700. Yeah. Well, that's what I want. I saw it and was like, "Oh my god, that's my next guitar." So
very nice.
It will happen. It will be mine.
Any closing thoughts here, sir?
It sounds like my house is going to blow over, so let's finish the podcast.
We will perhaps be back again next week with another great episode of the Power Gamer Podcast for you to enjoy. Until that time, I'm Mike Dawson.
And I'm Johnny
Tune
Paulus.
in next time. Take care.
Catch y'all on the flip-flop.
Ooh, yeah.
Hopefully my house won't blow away.